Hey, welcome to another Boring Dad Lecture. I want to take a minute and talk about another psychedelic experience that I had. And because I think it's significant. It's been significant to me. And it might be interesting to you. I don't know. But I've mentioned before that when I smoke marijuana, it has like a psychedelic effect on me. It's very strange. I don't know anybody else who has these sorts of experiences, but I have. But I told you about the first time when I was walking. I was in this dark area, and every time I took a step, like a brick, kind of showed up in front of me. Well, the next time I smoked, I was taken out of my body, and I was shown. I remember very, very clearly, just like flying out of my body and going just out into the cosmos, and I could see the Earth zooming away from me, and then going past the moon, and just zooming impossibly fast until I was all the way outside of the Milky Way, and I was just looking down at the Milky Way galaxy, and I could see it just like moving and spinning, and I looked around, and there was all these other sorts of galaxies that were moving and spinning, and it was almost like time was kind of fast forwarded, and I could see how they were dancing around each other, and just infinite flow of matter through the vastness of space. And then I just had like an intention that I wanted to go back, so I zoomed back in, and I came back down to the Earth, and then I had another idea. I wanted to go somewhere else, and I zoomed off to another planet, and I could just go wherever I wanted to go. It was amazing. It was kind of how they describe what's the word, astral projection. You just go wherever it is that you want to go. And that was fascinating. But what I saw was that my consciousness was sort of unified with all of matter and all of reality. And in other videos I've talked about how in my cosmology everything that's physical and tangible is Gaia, whether it's a little tiny pebble, or the Earth, or a duck, or a galaxy, or a galaxy cluster, or a galaxy supercluster, or all of this universe is all Gaia. And I got the strong impression that all of that consciousness was just one single consciousness. And the reason it was so easy to flow from one place to another within that consciousness, within that mind space, was that it was all the same thing. And it's all kind of happening within the same mind. So the way I pictured it was that within my own mind, I can move, within my own person, I can move my attention from one place in my body to another place in my body instantly. There's no travel time. I can, like right now I'm thinking about the toenail on my big toe on my right foot, and right now I'm thinking about the piece of hair on the top of the back of my head, and that little spot there, and I can shift my awareness anywhere within my person instantly. It takes no time whatsoever, right? And the impression that I got when I was in this astral plane, when I was outside of the body doing this, is that consciousness, the larger consciousness of Gaia, operates in a very similar way. That wherever there is a need for attention to a thing, that consciousness can instantly go there. There's no time delay. It doesn't matter. Distance doesn't matter. Everything happens instantaneously. So the conscious awareness, the larger consciousness system, if you will, can be almost simultaneously paying attention to the duck over there, the hair in my head, whatever's going on in Jupiter, and in, you know, unimaginable galaxies that are millions and millions of light years away, just instantaneously be paying attention to all of that simultaneously, or almost simultaneously. It's kind of like that. But being part of that larger system and not being confined by the body, I felt as though I then had access to those moving parts. And what's interesting about that too is that we know now that whatever it is that we focus our attention on, we can create. You know, another video I talked about changing your problems into projects, and how, you know, if you have a financial problem, if you just change the way that you think of it, then suddenly you can have, instead of a financial problem, you can have a financial project that you need to work on. And when you have a project, then you start to apply your attention to it. And if you are, as was shown to me, and as new consciousness studies is starting to indicate, if your consciousness is part of the larger consciousness system, then whatever it is that you are putting your attention to is also getting the attention of the larger consciousness system of Gaia. And by inference and by correlation, then also by the quantum field. Like, all of those resources, all of those energies are simultaneously being applied to whatever it is that is getting your attention in that moment. And that's a fascinating principle. And when you think about it, really, the amount of energy, the amount of resources, and the amount of just sheer power that's there, it's fascinating. You know, it's kind of like, okay, so, you know, back when they first started inventing cars, right, there were scientists who said that human beings couldn't possibly travel more than 40 miles an hour or they would just explode, right? And I think we've proven that wrong a lot, many times. And we've gotten to the, in fact, we've proven that wrong so much that, you know, we barely give a thought to going 80 miles an hour down the highway. It's no big deal, right? And the thing is that I say that because there are things that we have gotten used to that people used to think were completely impossible. You know, like, we are so used to living on this planet that we forget the fact that, you know, Earth is spinning. The surface of the Earth is moving at 1,000 miles an hour. 1,000 miles an hour. And then the Earth is spinning around the sun. And the sun is maybe spinning around a binary, but certainly spinning around the edge of the galaxy. Right? And then the galaxy is spinning around something, maybe a binary, but certainly through a galaxy supercluster. And that galaxy supercluster is spinning through something else. It's all spinning. So it's entirely possible that you are actually moving at or near the speed of light when you accumulate all those speeds, right? It's possible. I don't know. I'm not a physicist. But it seems like none of this would be possible. The evolutionary process would not be possible. None of this would be happening if we were not, in fact, traveling at or near the speed of light. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Smoke that in your stick and pipe it. I always get that one wrong. But listen, the fact of the matter is that we're used to it. We're just used to it. I'm sitting in a car, talking to a little computer-y thing, making a video. It doesn't seem all that dramatic, right? But the reality is that I'm hurtling at impossibly unimaginable speeds through the vastness of empty space simultaneously, right? And the thing is that that takes a tremendous amount of energy. A tremendous amount of energy. Just think about, like this car, Blanche here. She's got a little V6 3.5 liter engine, right? And the amount of energy it takes to turn that over. The starter motor has got to like crank it up and spin that thing up. And once it gets spinning, it's like producing enough energy to like turn on the fan and move the transmission and move the car back and forth and generate all this electricity, and like computers get fired up and like all this kind of crazy stuff happens because of that one thing is spinning, right? And then you use the torque, and you can, apply it and move the car. You can take, radial motion and turn it into linear movement through the miracle of modern engineering, right? But that takes an amazing amount of energy because all those things are spinning. And if you look at like within yourself, if you look at the atoms and the quarks and all the things that are happening within you, all that spinning is generating a tremendous amount of energy, right? And you are at the helm of all of that energy that is happening within you. And you're so used to it, you're just like, oh, I'm just flopping my hand. I'm just growing my hair. I'm just blinking, right? Without thinking about the fact that, that blink takes a tremendous amount of energy to do that. It takes a tremendous amount of energy for you to exist. And as such, you have access to that energy. And when you focus your attention on something, all that energy of the cosmos, the attention of larger consciousness, like all of those things combine to laser focus on whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Anyway, that was a deep one. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're finding peace in your life. Hope you're being kind to yourself. Above all, be kind to yourself. Because when you are kind to yourself, it naturally outcrops and it grows out of you and becomes kindness to others. So Jesus talked about love your neighbor as yourself. And he said, remember, don't ever forget this. They asked him, Jesus, what's the greatest commandment? And he said, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and spirit. And the second, he said, without missing a beat, is like the first, to love your neighbor as yourself. And you have to ask yourself, how is loving your neighbor as yourself like loving God? Unless you and your neighbor are both God. I'm just saying. Don't tell the evangelicals I said that, because they'll lose their whole business model and they'll get all pissed off. The church hates stuff like that. Anyway, I love pissing off the church. It's one of my favorite pastimes. I love you. Be kind. Be generous. Be loving. All those sorts of things. Take care of yourself and others. See me soon.